salesperson or business that require face-to-face.
Hello, Hoài Lượng. Hello, hello.
Hello, Yan Yan.
Hello, Yan Yan.
Yes. Okay.
Ôi.
Let's mute ourselves for a while first until until
Yeah,
10
I'm
o'clock.
muting. I'm muting. Okay, bye.
Hello, Roy.
Hello, morning.
Hey, morning. Yes, you ourselves first until we start. Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Horion from Vivita, Singapore. Very good morning to all of you spending this Saturday morning with us at the Lighthouse Webinar. The weather outside is just outside my window is a little bit rainy. It's quite a heavy downpour, but I hope that all of us have a good day this morning. Okay. So first of all, once again, I would like to welcome everybody to join this webinar, which is the first part of the Lighthouse program. And you all will have 2 more sessions of workshop coming for the next week over the September holidays as well. Today, we are very happy to have 3 speakers, all very creative and amazing people with us. Also, really thank you very much for the time. We have Dr. Wu Yan Yan, Mr. Roy Koo, as well as Mr. David Ho, spending the time with us this morning. Okay. The flow of today will be that, first of all, we'll start with having each of them share about what they are doing in terms of what the creations are. And creation can mean many, many things. It's not just something technical. All of them, the 3 of them come from a very wide perspective of fields. Not just like some of them are doing tech or more. Some of them are involved in the social enterprise sector and in media and arts in many, many things. And I think that's one of the wish of today is that I know that all of you, when you apply for this Lighthouse program, you have come with an idea that you want to make, how you want to contribute to improving society, improving lives of the people around you. And when I read those applications, I'm really very, very encouraged. So with and hopefully through this session and by the sharing of all the 3 panelists today, you even receive more inspiration about what you can do. Maybe you can stretch the perspective of what you're already thinking of and hope that it will help you in the journey of exploring what you want to make, which is the objective of this Let's Help program. Okay, so 1 or 2 like housekeeping matters. Okay, today one of the like characteristic of this program is also that we want to hear from all of you. Okay, so it's not a program that you all just come and like go through a series of things and then learn something, but it's really meant to be a platform to support each of you's creation and what you want to do. So even in this workshop, we hope that we can hear your voice, which will be able to affect the content of today. So later, after this short introduction, I will launch a poll. Then you'll answer some questions of what you want to hear more. And later, the 3 speakers and we'll try to share more about that perspective that you are keen to know. Okay. The second thing is that you will notice that some of you have already done that. At the bottom of your screen, there's this Q&A button. Okay. So along the way, when you hear the speakers sharing or you have any questions to all of them, please type in your questions in the Q&A. And also, you can look at other people's questions and upvote them. So those questions that has more people want to ask, then we will also prioritize answering them later as well. Okay, so we hope that it will be more interactive. It's not just me speaking to you and then it'll be quite boring for all of you, right? Yeah, so yeah, if you have anything regarding what the speakers have shared, do ask questions and then we'll answer your questions at the end of the session. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to start the seminar today by launching the polls. Okay, so very soon you will be able to see this poll, which we want to ask all of you. What do you want to hear more from our dear panelists today? Okay, so there are 4 options. One is, I want to hear more about your life journey, because that's very important to know someone's creation as well. The second option is, I want to hear more about your latest creation. So maybe if some of you are interested in the coolest and like most advanced technology or things that they are working on. So that's the second question. The third is, I want to hear more about how you come up with ideas. All of you are exactly at this stage that you have ideas about maybe thinking of how you can develop it further or struggling, there's something that you're thinking about. So you can hear more about that. The last one is, I want to hear more about your failures. In a process of the journey of creation, there are bound to be failures, and maybe you all have already experienced some of them. And it would be good to also hear from them how they overcome all these challenges that they're facing in the journey of creation and making things. Okay, so okay, the polls are coming. I think there's still like 13 people who haven't voted. So okay, very good. Okay, now 90% of you have voted. Okay, maybe another 10 seconds, I'll close the vote. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Cast your vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let me end the poll. Okay. Okay, sharing the results of everybody. Okay, these are the panelists. I think you all can also see, right? Okay, so these are the views or opinions of what everybody would like to hear from the floor today. Okay, so I think the top two is they want to hear more about the latest creation or latest things you're working on. Okay, and the second thing is they want to hear more about how you come with ideas. Okay, so some of you have already prepared something along those lines, and so it's more of like maybe rejigging what you have mentioned and place a bit more emphasis on these two ideas that our attendees today would like to hear. Okay, so okay, great. Okay, thanks for all the feedback. Okay, okay, and so okay, so with that in mind, we'd like to introduce the first speaker to share about of what he's working on. Our first speaker today is Mr. Roy Koo. Roy is deeply diving into virtual reality since 2015. You can see him using AR on the screen as well. And also he's the AR VR person, and he's always exploring new VR concepts as he believes VR has the potential to converge industries. Roy currently likes to also snowboard, but he can do it once a year in real life. It may be even more difficult now during COVID. Maybe can develop virtual VR snowboarding. Yes, and he chases the day where VR feels like the real thing. Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to pass the stage on to Roy.
Hi, good morning. Can everyone hear me? Okay, right.
Yes.
So I think I'll share my screen as well so you can talk from my slides lah. Yeah. Right. So today I'm going to share my journey with my company Ignite VR through the last 4 to 5 years like that. So how was it like when I was starting this journey like after graduation and everything? I was actually expecting something more conventional, just get a normal job, work for someone, get promoted, earn more money, get married, have kids, get a car, house, go on many holidays as I go through my life. But I think along the way, somehow ventured into something more unconventional. Yeah. So just start from my background first before starting my company. So I graduated from NUS with a degree in mechanical engineering in 2014. After that, I worked for 2 years as a project coordinator for serious games. So I work in a very small company where you can see you have to have a hand in everything that the company is doing, from doing things from marketing, doing things in software development, and that's my role as a project coordinator to coordinate all these things inside. So what is serious games? Serious games is something, it's like playing games, but you do it for training purposes, for education purpose. So you can see in the picture on the right here. This picture shows me like doing a demonstration about a security training demo. Yeah. And on my right, there was the current Minister of Transport. Yeah. So why did I choose virtual reality? So at a point of time when I was working about 1.5 years in my my first job, I managed to actually try out some virtual reality in a very simplest form using the Google Cardboard, and we did some demos in our company as well. It was something that really captured my attention a lot. I've been following the news, especially since the person on the right over here, Palmer Luckey, He was the one who started the current virtual reality craze back in 2012 when he was just like a 20-year-old guy. So he was a hacker. He was in his own garage he realized that he could use like very common components that you can find nowadays for cheap, like handphone components, and he can actually make a really good virtual reality headset right now. And he managed to have a Kickstarter that launched off this entire new virtual reality platform. So it's not something really new. It's been around since the 60s, and virtual reality used to exist in a form factor that is really heavy, it's really expensive, and he was able to bring it down to a $300 price point and around there. So it was very attractive, and along from since 2012 and then 2014, Facebook bought them for $2 billion. People could tell that, and I still believe in that virtual reality is going to be able to change a lot of things in the future. Yeah, and on the left, you can see, I don't know whether you watched Ready Player One before. So Ready Player One is a movie that is based on the future where everybody has actually used virtual reality in their daily lives, from like education, entertainment, their social lives. Yeah. So all these things combined together and made me want to find out more about what this virtual reality could do. So in my next step, I started writing blogs about, as I went along this discovery route, okay, in 2016, before I left my first job. Okay, I started writing a blog and documenting what I learned about it. And along the way, I managed to find fellow friends who are like interested in virtual reality as well. And we begin organizing meetups where we gather together people who are enthusiastic about it, business owners who want to see how they can change their business as well. So we found some people who are working on it as well and got them to give some sharings together. So we did a lot of these kind of meetups on a monthly basis, and the crowd was really excited in coming together to find out more together. Yeah. So from there, I met my first business partner, my current business partner, and together we opened this small virtual reality arcade at Marina Square. We had about 6 VR stations over there where people can just come in anytime during the opening hours and come and play some VR games. So we ran this for about 6 months in the first half of 2017, and after that we closed it lah. So sad to say it's no longer open anymore. But the reason why we closed it was because a retail concept is actually something that is very challenging. I think that it was a very fruitful experience for me to be able to see how people try virtual reality for the first time, and they show me that there's so much potential in virtual reality that when they put on the headsets, even though sometimes some of them are skeptical, through this first time experience, you can see that they really enjoyed this experience, and there is many things that can be done with it. So due to the high cost and low throughput, it's hard to like have many people trying out the virtual reality experience in a day. Even at our peak, we could do only max 30 sessions a day. So we could sort of break even, but we couldn't really justify the time that myself and my partner spend at the shop when we feel that there are other things that we want to do as well. Yeah. So after we closed the arcade, actually even before then, we were already doing a lot of ad hoc event booth. So you can see on the top, we did a Ready Player One event booth, and below that was for conference. So people pay us to do all these event booths, and this was something that is more time efficient for us as well as cost efficient. And we have done over 200 events to date. But however, right now we have this industry, this business is almost dead due to COVID-19. So there's not much events that like physical events that can go to. So most of the time we are doing this via Zoom. So I can't do a VR booth for Zoom. So yeah, that's why this business is I wouldn't say it's like completely dead. It might come back up once the COVID situation is. But right now it's really not there. So we had to pivot. Yeah, we had to pivot, and luckily we started early. Yeah, so this is what we are doing right now. We are doing more on software development. People engage us to do software development, or we create our own in-house products. Sometimes we go for competitions as well. That was the very first project that we did. And we are comprised of a small team of 3 full-time person and some interns sometimes. Yeah. So maybe just go through some of the projects that we did previously. The first one that you can see over here is underwater, like a very, very simple underwater experience. When you put on the headset, you see all these sea creatures, fishes, turtles swimming around you. So we did this project for together with an NUH doctor, anesthetist actually. So the problem that he encountered was that he deals with a lot of young children. So for them to put on the anesthesia mask, young children like maybe less than 10 years old, okay, or maybe 5 years old and below. So when they have to put on the anesthesia mask, it's very hard for them because it's very it's scary, and it's also something that is by instinct you want to pull it off because of the smell of the anesthesia gas. So we created this app where they can actually put on the VR headset and immerse themselves inside this very calming environment. And maybe I just play it again. You can notice that there are some bubbles that you can see coming up. So these bubbles are created when you blow into the VR headset. It's based on sound basically. So the louder you blow, the more bubbles will come out, and then that will attract the fishes around you. So we created this very simple game mechanic to encourage people to like blow harder, then if you blow harder, you have to breathe in harder as well to take in more air after you blow out so much. So that will help them to actually breathe in the gas more. So this was something that we did for a competition which won first prize lah. So it wasn't a VR competition, but something that is quite generic for the healthcare innovation tech stuff. Yeah, so I was very happy about it, but we didn't really like move further beyond that lah. So pass it on to the doctor and then see whether he wants to do it more. So there's some other projects that we did. You can see over here. On the left is our own in-house project that we did for some events, and we launched for the game platforms like Steam. So this is a golf game. This is a very early demo. We made a bit more improvements after that. You can see over here. The next one is a food fighting experience. Yeah, so basically you grab the food on the table and throw at each other. It's a 4-player game. And over here in this screen, you can see something that people like to call either mixed reality or virtual production today. We use a green screen and then we stand in front of the green screen and then we capture ourselves playing the game and we put the game background behind it as well. Yeah, something that's very short and fun and really good for our events as well. And some of the commissions project that we did was one over here. You can see this. We did this for a travel agency that specializes in bringing people to Mecca. So one of the issues that they face is that they have to train people, have a pre-trip sessions where they train people on what to expect when they get there. So at Mecca, there can be up to 300,000 people inside this mosque. Over here, we are just simulating about 500 people walking around the central area. So we wanted people to be able to get used to the mass amount of people that is around here. Yeah, and they use it for some practice for the things that they have to say during this pilgrimage. Yeah, this was something that we created for them. Okay, so we are also working on other projects that is currently, these are finished projects, and there's a few more that we have upcoming, like we are doing a multiplayer laser tag game where you can run around in a big space. Very exciting, and it's something that we really enjoy doing. Yeah, software development. Yep. So so you can see there's many like ups and downs when I've been doing this business for 4 years. I wouldn't say that I'm successful yet. It's still a long way to go. But it's a journey that I'm really enjoying. Constantly pushing myself to learn new stuff, things that I don't learn in university and my previous education. But I feel that it's fruitful, yeah, to be able to try something that is very new that no one has ever done. Not many people have done. and that is something that I feel that is rewarding to me. So yeah, so just one last slide regarding VR and AR is that some trends moving forward is that the implications in the COVID-19 world. People feel that maybe VR is a very good solution for not being able to meet physically, and that's true. With virtual reality, you can actually meet together in a virtual world. Like for example, right now we are talking over Zoom, but I always feel that using Zoom for online meetings is it's kind of fake. You can see each other on the screen only. And when you use virtual reality, you can see someone in 3D. You can walk around. The sense of presence with each other is much stronger. And with that, I think communications becomes more natural and easier as well. So virtual reality does is able to do such a difference when it comes to meeting online. But right now there's a lack in infrastructure. So even if I want to do it now, like talk to all 50 of you on in virtual reality, I have the headset, but you might not have one. So that is the reason why it is hard to implement that at a snap. Yeah. So moving forward, we think that virtual reality will be used mostly for entertainment, which was what it was designed for at the start, playing a lot of games. But increasingly, we see things that people are doing more apps for work and education as well. So the reason why we like to use for this enterprise, we call this enterprise apps purpose, is because virtual reality gives you a lot of superpowers that you can't have in real life. And this is something that we're not just replacing what we can do in real life. For example, going on a field trip, going on learning how to operate a forklift, learning how to fly in a spaceship, going underwater. And these are things that in real life, if you have to do it, it's very resourceful intensive, and it might be dangerous as well. So virtual reality provides this opportunity to do things at scale. You can have like the whole class, the whole school going on a field trip to Rome using the one classroom of sets of virtual reality headsets instead of flying everyone over there. So this opens up a lot of opportunity for people who might not have the chance to do so in the past. Yeah, so that's where we feel that personally, as my company as well, work and education is a big focus of what we are doing in the future. And for hardware wise, I'm very happy to say that prices of virtual reality headsets are going down, and it's very heartening to be able to see that this will allow more people to be able to experience what is virtual reality. So you can see over here this headset that I'm holding over here. Okay, that's wireless, and it's a really great headset, and it costs only about $600 to $700, depending on where you buy from. And previously, when I just started in 2016, I need a computer, I need a VR headset, and that could cost about $5,000. So the price has dropped by 90%, I think, or 80%. So that is something that it's just cheaper than a phone actually. So yeah, really encourage everyone to actually try it out if you have the opportunity to. Yeah, and some takeaways that I hope that you can have from me is that for me, I took my opportunity when it came, when my partner was talking to me about like starting the virtual reality arcade. It was really new, it was really unexplored, something that I wasn't prepared for. But I was young, I was single, and I didn't really have a debt to like finance. So it was an acceptable risk for me to venture into this. So I took this opportunity to try something that I know that if I didn't take it, I would definitely regret it. Yeah, because I feel that this virtual reality, this new medium, is something that comes once in a life. We don't actually meet the dawn of a new industry so often, and I think this is a big one that will last for a long time. Yeah. So right now, actually, I'm still figuring out a lot of what my life is. So I don't know if you young guys and girls like you guys, it's okay if you have not figured out your life by 21 or ever. So I think that is something that we all have our own unique path to live. We don't have to compare ourselves with my peers. I have a lot of friends who are like married, have kids, and they have a career that is very well very well developed by now. So instead of me like trying to find my own way, finding new business, constantly having to challenge myself to survive even, yeah. And this journey that I'm on, or you find yourself on, is definitely something that not just you don't have to stick to it forever, and you can definitely change your path if you want to. Like I've always been like doing the usual stuff, going through university, and at some point in my first job, I decided to embark on this path of entrepreneurship. So that is something that I changed, and in the future, I might even change back to going back to do a regular job if I have a family and want more stability, and then after that, I might start a new business again after that. So things might keep changing, and I think that in life, that is something that is very exciting, that I would definitely be looking forward to now and as well as in the future. So that's it for me, actually. So last thing to share is that using virtual reality, you definitely feel like the one on top. Feels amazing. What it looks like can be below. Don't necessarily have to be dressed like that, but it looks stupid sometimes. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. But it's fine because it feels amazing, and that's what's important, I feel. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. Thank you very much, Roy, for your sharing. Yes, it's like some of the examples that you share were definitely very interesting. Some of the attendees who are here today, when they submitted their ideas, they talk about like games or games that has a social purpose, or it's just fun that helps people. I think some of what you have mentioned would have inspired them. I also like the last two, especially the last two slides that you mentioned. It's really so along what we also hope to share with all the participants here. That it's okay not to know what you want to do yet. It's fine. Let's please continue to explore. If you want to change, is it the idea you have submitted along the way? Sure, it's okay. Don't have to stick onto your idea that you have come forth with. And also the last slide is really also another interesting what exactly making of the journey is. Sometimes it looks very heroic, but at the end maybe also look very stupid. A lot of hard work at the same time as well. Okay, so once again, thank you very much, Roy, for your sharing. There are quite a lot of questions directed at you. Maybe you can later scan through the Q&A. Some of them that needs more explaining, you can address it during the Q&A. For some that you can like answer it quickly, you can also answer on the chat. Yeah. Okay. So maybe we can go through. Okay, moving on to our next panelist. I'd like to now introduce Dr. Wu Yan. Dr. Wu is an entrepreneur, multimedia creator, and professor of education. She has so many things that she is doing. So some of you might know, she co-founded this website called talkingcod.com, which was a hugely popular humor website. And she also co-edited the Coxfod Singlish Dictionary, directed in a movie called Singapore Dreaming, that some of you might have watched also, which is currently playing on Netflix in Southeast Asia. Currently, her latest venture is that she's the CEO of Yumcha Studios and a co-curator of Dim Sum Warriors comic book series and bilingual learning system. So without further ado, I'd like to have Yan.
Hi, everybody. I just want to make sure you can hear me. Yes? I'm calling in from Taiwan, actually. I live in Taiwan now, and thank you, Roy, for your very inspiring talk, because it was very funny. My daughter, when she was 9 years old, she said, "Mommy, I have to be a child actress this year, 9, because by 10, I'm 2 digits. My life is over. I'm over the hill." So she really wanted to be an actress. So we are all not over the hill, however many digits there are. So I'm going to spend some time talking about my latest project. So we are doing Dim Sum Warriors and Little Dim Sum Warriors. For those who want to see my other works, I've been a film director. You can watch Singapore Dreaming on Netflix and go on it now. And not now, after the talk. You can see it. Now we're making Dim Sum Warriors. You can go on Facebook. You can go on our website. and download some free content if you want. So Little Dim Sum Warriors is a bilingual book series. So we use dim sums to make all these characters and these books. It was inspired by dim sum because I love eating dim sum, and my family, so we lived in New York for 20 years. And in New York, every weekend we would go for dim sum, and it's always very fun. And whenever we have Singaporeans visiting, we'll go and eat dim sum. And also I was learning Shaolin Kung Fu at that time. So my Shaolin teacher at that time is now in Mulan. So it's very exciting for us. Okay, so the three main characters in Dim Sum Warriors are Cha Shao Bao, Xia Jiao, and Shao Mai. If you love dim sum, these are the three things that you must always have when you go eat dim sum. So these are the three things. After this, you can, if you're hungry, you can go eat dim sum. And then we have a whole series of characters that we created. My husband and I, his name is Colin. He's a cartoonist. So I write and he draws and writes together with me. So we have different characters like Feng Zhua. Can you see Feng Zhua somewhere on the screen? The phoenix claw with the chicken foot. We have spring roll and so on. So I'm going to read to you my latest book. So this just was released like a month ago, called Bao Man, so that you have an idea of what we do. Bao Man. I am Bao Man. Hi, Xia Xiao Bao. Xia Jiao, Shao Mai. I am Bao Man. Why is your voice so weird? Do you have a cold? Of course not. Can't you see that Bao? Can't you see that Baozi is trying to be a superhero? Oh, sorry, got stuck. Superhero? What superhero? Oh yeah, wait. Superheroes are all tall and strong, so when bad guys see them, they get scared and run away. But you look more like you're ... Super cuddly. Cuddly? What kind of superhero is cuddly? Why? All that matters is that superheroes help people. Why should we care about how they look? Oh, please. Superheroes are not ordinary heroes. They must have super costumes. They must have superpowers. You have a super costume, but do you have superpowers? Do you have super high-tech armor like Super Manto, the mantle of steel? Are you from a planet of super strong dumplings like Wonder Wonton? Were you bitten by a radioactive cockroach and now have the powers of a cockroach like the astonishing Captain Cockroach? He makes people want to hug him. That's not a power. Imagine if robbers are robbing a bank. Super Manto will protect people with his armor. Wonder Wonton will stop the robbers from escaping. Captain Cockroach will tickle the armpits of the bad guys till they give up. What can Bao Man do? He uses his superpowers to make the robbers come over and hug him and stop their evil ways. Bao Man, you're amazing. Thanks to your superpowers, the bad guys were all caught and nobody got hurt. Bao Man, you're our favorite kind of superhero. Yay. So this is a story about Bao Man, and it's also kind of a story about getting everybody to find your own superpower. You may not have the same superpowers as others, but you have your own, right? So Dim Sum Warriors is now an app. It's a bilingual print book series. And it is also a stage musical. I'll show you some pictures of the stage musical in a moment. Where can we find inspiration for our creations? Everyday life we find incredibly funny. So I find creations from things I love, like dim sum and kung fu. I love a lot. In the movie, I grew up in a 3-room flat in Singapore, and I featured a whole movie around 3-room flat because that's where I lived and that's what I knew. What's the journey of creation? I often start by getting very excited by a great idea. So this is Shao Mai, and I put in a lot of hard work, and I get very frustrated, and then I have to calm down because I'm so frustrated. Then I sometimes have to leave it for a while to go away, and then I return to it re-inspired. But something that, even though you try many things, something that has stayed with me for all my creations is the principle that I always complete what I start. So until I need to complete it, otherwise there's nothing. How do we develop the habits of creativity? So I think creativity is a habit. We are always thinking of what if things were like that, and so on. So something that we do at a very basic level as a family is we try to make things instead of buy things. So for example, when we were living in New York, we have many Halloween costumes, and people would buy Halloween costumes, and we would make our own Halloween costumes. So on the left, you see the Spirited Away, and in the middle is Powerpuff Girls. So our family, all three of us as Powerpuff Girls. And on the right is Harry Potter, because our daughter loved Harry Potter. Oh, so this is in Taiwan, the costumes that were made in Taiwan. On the left is my daughter's costume for, do you know the Sadako? Who was the ghost crawling out, and then on the right is she wanted to cut off her own head for this costume. I hope there are no little kids who will get scared by this in this talk. So we've made graphic novels with our Dim Sum Warriors. We've made a musical on stage where they sing and dance, and they toured 25 cities in China, playing to over 30,000 people. So this is our musical. So these are the cities. We also have a puppet show that tours in Singapore for different events and so on. So that's what we are, Dim Sum Warriors, and I'm Yan Yan. So can ask away if you have any questions later, and I'll run through your questions and answer them soon.
Okay, thank you very much, Yan Yan, for the sharing. Yeah. Okay. So for those of you who have questions for Yan Yan, please can type it in the Q&A. I think like what she has shared quite a different perspective about her creation, things about art and media, communicating, like what using it as a tool to also help students in learning languages in two ways. And then different from the typical maybe approach of, let's say, like tuition, or very like hardcore, or things that some of you might be going through. It's a very fun and a different perspective of how you can make use of technology, and also not just technology, to on this issue of bilingual education. Yes. Okay. Yes. I see a lot of comments and good
Yes, it's
yes.
absolutely. I think it's Ryan who says Avengers, but food. Yes, it's food Avengers. Absolutely, that's right.
Okay, great. Yes. Okay, and yeah, and she also shared about the journey of creation. I think that's what some of you would like to hear. And yeah, I find a lot of truth in what she's doing. One point that she mentioned, which is she needs to end what she's doing. I think that is a very important and also a very difficult point. Even I myself, I start a lot of things also, and in the general startup term, it's seen that a lot of people start a lot of things, but it's really finishing it off and bringing it to something that really takes a lot of frustration and difficulty. But yeah, it's very important. If not, what you do will always remain as an idea. Will never be able to come out to the world and impact others. So yes, thanks for that advice also, Yan Yan. Okay, and last but not least, we'd like to introduce our third speaker for today. And he will share, I think, another very different perspective as well. So for the first speaker for today, we have Mr. David Ho. David is a firm believer of creating opportunities for youth to realize their aspiration. Apart from his day job, which is MOE, so he looks after all of you, and he also wears hats of a district councillor for Central Singapore Community Development Council, council member for the National Youth Council, and he's also the founder of I Am Talented and Project Stable. He attributes who he is today to many who have selflessly invested in him, and he lives with his motto of paying it forward. So David, pass the floor over to you.
Hello, everyone. Yes, my name is David, and I'm very inspired hearing from Roy earlier in terms of how he started his creation, and also Yan Yan, because when she talked about Dim Sum Warrior, I'm going to tell you something about food later. But yeah, I must say I'm really inspired by both of them. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share to you about my journey, my creation journey, in terms of how I ended up where I am. Yeah, so maybe before I start, what I want to do is to okay, I'll show you a screen later. Now, I don't know about you, but I remember when I was primary 2 or somewhere in primary 1, my art teacher one day did this. Let me show you something. I don't know if all of you remember that your art teacher might have done this before. Okay, give me a minute. Let me go to full screen. Now, I'm going to jump this. So when I was in primary 1, primary 2, we were asked to do this. We were asked to draw what do we want to do when we become older. Now, so my friends on my left and right, most people drew what the teacher expected them to draw. But when my teacher came to my table and she saw what I drew, she was shocked because I didn't draw that I want to be a dim sum warrior, but I drew this. I said, when I grow older, I want to be a chicken rice store uncle. And I tell you, at that moment, when I drew this, my teacher was a bit shocked. It's like, hey, I thought we have never taught you this. We only teach you how to be lawyers, policeman, fireman, doctor. So nowhere in our syllabus have we ever taught a student to be a chicken rice store uncle. But that was my dream job when I was in primary school. But I must tell you today, I'm an educator. I'm a teacher. So things are very different now. So I would like to share with you my story of how I ended up becoming a teacher when my first dream job was a chicken rice store uncle. Now, maybe what I should do is to tell you why I wanted to be a chicken rice store uncle. So I'm going to stop share screen first so that you can see my face. All right. Now, so I must tell what happened. When I was younger, my parents were separated. So I lived with my mom. And my mom does, when I was in kindergarten, around P1, that period, she had this thing, an eye condition called cataract. I'm not too sure how many of you know what's cataract, but it's a condition with the eye. And she went for an operation. Now, my parents were separated. I lived with my mom. But the entire operation, it didn't go well. It was a failed operation because at that time, the doctor at one point didn't remove a particular process that involved a needle. And because of that, my mom became completely blind. So because of that, I was in primary school. My mom was completely blind, and to make ends meet, we have to go on the street to work. So I remember when I was in primary school, I always hate Saturdays because Saturdays, I don't think things are the same now. 10 a.m. was Powerpuff Girls. So just now you saw the creation. 10:30 was my favorite show, Pokemon, because I love Pokemon. But I really hated Saturdays because it's a love-hate relationship because 10:30 is Pokemon. 11 o'clock means I need to go on the streets to work. So I remember what happened was, for those of you who don't speak Mandarin, pardon me, I would have to go on the street and ask this with my mom. Uncle, auntie, 可以帮我买 tissue paper 吗? 2块. So basically, it's like asking people on the street. I brought my blind mom with me, and we went on the street to ask people if they can buy tissue paper or sweets from us. That was how we made ends meet. So that was primary school life for me. Wait, but how did I want to be a chicken rice store uncle? So this is the story. Now, because I didn't get to go to too many playgrounds, I went to many coffee shops and many hawker centers, and I noticed that a plate of chicken rice, I wish I could hear some response from you, but in view of time, I'm just going to tell you the answer. Last time, a plate of chicken rice cost about $2 or $2.50. You still get this price today at some shops. Because I live in a rental flat, we didn't have aircon. So after we work very hard, I'll bring my mom to NTUC. Then you know the frozen section. I will dump my head into the frozen section just to get aircon. So what happened was one day I put my head into the frozen, the chicken section. Then I noticed one chicken costs about $5. Then I thought to myself, this chicken rice store uncle actually make a lot of money. Let me tell you why. Because one whole chicken, he only give you a few pieces of meat and rice. Then I realized it should be less than maybe 50 cents or 70 cents. But he works very hard. If you saw my drawing just now, this drawing here, this chicken rice store uncle, to me, the chicken rice store uncle looks very poor. But then actually I realized that chicken rice store uncle is not poor because he might sell the thing for very, of course I didn't know he has to pay rental costs and all at that point of time. So that was where I said, okay, David, this is how I'm going to get rich. I'm going to be a chicken rice store uncle when I grow older. So that was my childhood story. That's how my chicken rice store dream is. But this, I haven't started my chicken rice store. Today I eat more than I make chicken rice. Maybe it's my retirement job plan. Now, so allow me to bring you through how things change. Now, remember I told you my mom was blind. So because my mom was blind, she couldn't help me with my studies. So because of this, like most of you soon, you will have to take this thing called your PSLE. So my PSLE, I didn't do amazing. I got 110 for PSLE. So this is really at that point of time, the only stream that I could go to was the normal technical stream. I couldn't even go to normal acad and I couldn't even go to express. Now, when I was in the normal technical stream, no one really paid attention in class. Everyone was always making noise. But you know, one thing I love about being in a neighborhood school was CCA. Because in CCA, I got to meet friends from other streams. And one day, a friend asked me, "Hey, David, why not you pay attention in class?" So, you know, I was very proud, very egoistic at secondary one. I said, fine, I will pay attention. The next lesson was math. Now, so my turning point was this. The first formula I ever understood in my life, okay, you must understand, some of you probably learned this in primary 5. I was not academically very good well. So at secondary 1, this was the first formula that I learned. Some of you might know this formula. It's called pi r square. Some of you, if you're primary 4, you might not know. This is basically the area of a circle. Now, I'm going to stop sharing screen again. So what happened was, I saw this formula and it looks a bit interesting because pi looks a bit weird. Then during that lesson, my teacher taught that formula. So the thing is, during that lesson, I made one simple conclusion. David, actually, you're not that stupid because I might not be doing very well, but I realized that with that formula and in this word problem, there will always be one number. And I tried. If I put that one number into that formula, I will get the right answer. Because you know the thing about math textbook is you can always flip behind and you can see the answers. So then that was where I realized, David, I'm not so stupid. I think I can do math. So even though I didn't understand the whole equation, the whole word problem, I just kept putting the right number into the right formula. Somehow I kept getting the right answer because I could check my answer. Then I realized, not too bad. I think I can do math. Now, remember I told you I was in a normal technical class, and my class, no one likes to pay attention. Now, towards the end of secondary 1, the final year exam, my friend said, "Hey, David, can you teach us math?" I said, "Can, very simple. Just find the right formula, throw the right number into the right formula, you will get the right answer." So then my friends listened, then they tried. Then most of them got it right. Then I realized, actually, I don't want to be a chicken rice store uncle anymore. Now I want to be a teacher. I tell you why, okay? Last time I taught, a teacher come to school at 7 a.m., they finish school at 1 p.m. I didn't know they got many other things to do. So I said, well, the teacher actually put in a few hours at work and they earn a lot of money. So I said, okay, time change, game plan change, I'm going to be a teacher. Now, and this all happened because I accidentally discovered, as I was helping my friends, I actually enjoyed teaching. I enjoy helping people to pick out something new. Now, so in view of time, later I can share a little bit more, but I just wanted to share my journey of how I became a teacher. I became a teacher not because one day I had a sudden revelation. It was really because I was just trying new things. Like when you tinker with stuff and you try new things, and that's where you taste an element of success and you realize that actually you're good at that. And that was where I decided to develop this. Last thing I just want to share before I pass the time over, I run this program called I Am Talented. Really, this program is basically for students to come over to learn things like songwriting, fashion design, robotics and all. But basically, these are things that you may not learn in school. At the end of the day, I genuinely believe in this. Everyone is talented. It's just that sometimes we might not have access to opportunities to figure out what we are good at. So for me, I was very blessed to have the opportunity to pay attention in class and to teach my friends. And that was where I realized, hey, I actually do have a talent in teaching someone. So for all you creators out there, I know the journey ahead is going to be very exciting. You're going to try building some stuff and all. I want to say, don't fear, jump in and try, because as you try, you'll realize, hey, I'm actually good at this. And once you realize you're good at something, like what Yan Yan said earlier, when you start something, just put all your hearts out into it and don't stop. So for me, it was a long journey. To finish this off, I'm just going to say that while other people took about 6 years to become a teacher, I must tell you, I took at least 10 years to become where I am today, because I just bite the bullet and say, I really want to be a teacher. And I found my ways. I knocked on many doors just to create my own dream, and this is where I am today. But sadly, I'm not teaching now. I'll tell you all more next time. Now I'm doing policy work, which I wish to be back in schools. So I really love teaching and I really love classroom. So thanks for listening to my story. I haven't spoken to so many students in a while, but really thank you for this opportunity. All right, I shall pass the time back to our amazing hosts.
Thank you very much, David. It's really I think this time, I think many of you who applied for this have this impression of coming here that you'll be making something, which is of course very true. That I think what David shared is things happening beyond the making of the main thing itself. It's really a journey. Definitely the points that he mentioned, that is like trying different things and then come up with some, you might chance upon something that you like. It's also exactly what we hope that all of you will take it in the spirit. Don't worry about like wandering up sometimes, like even like how long it takes, it doesn't matter. Although of course the program has a certain length, your primary school is only 6 years, secondary school only like 4 or 5 years, but life doesn't end there. Even more so now, we're talking about everyone will have a minimum, maybe an average life of 100 years going forward with the advance of medical technologies. So like, what is the 1 or 2 years in that 100-year life that you're going to spend? Right? So don't worry if you need like 5 more, 10 more years to explore what you do, but try different things and don't be afraid to do it. Will eventually you will find your way or achieve what you want to do as well. Okay, so thank you very much, David, again. And for those of you who have questions to David, and also not just David, but to all the panelists we have today, please type in your questions. Okay. Now we have come to the end of the sharing by all the 3 speakers, and we would like to move on to maybe around 20 minutes of Q&A. Okay, to start off the Q&A, I would like to launch one more poll on 3 questions that I would like you all to choose, like which one do you want them to answer to first kick off the session. Then after that, there are some questions that you all already have typed in, directed to some of them, that I will pick up and ask the 3 of them. Okay, so again, please look at your screen. Wait. Okay, so this is the second poll. Okay, which questions do you want to ask the panelists? 1, what advice will you give to us young creators? I mean, some of them have already answered to some extent, but I think it's good to ask them again, because that's who all of you are. The second one is, how will you as a student? What will you do differently if you can be a student again? And the last question is, what's the latest technology subject matter that you're interested in, and what's so interesting about it? Okay, so wow, quite equal. The votes. Okay, maybe I give another 20 seconds, and most of you have answered already. Yeah, it's so equal that maybe you can answer. Just pick one of the 3 that you would like to answer. Yes. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, let me end the poll. Okay. Okay, so sharing the poll results. Can you all see on the screen? Okay, Roy, you have a big spectacle, so yeah, I'm sure you can see. Okay, so yeah, it's really pretty evenly spread. The one that has more votes than the others is the last question, which is about what's the latest technology subject matter that you're interested in, and what's so interesting about it. Okay, and following closely behind is like, what advice will you give to young creators? And if you want to talk about yourself as a student, which I think some of you have already done that, also can. Okay, maybe panelists, like, just open up to you all, and who want to start answering one of these 3 questions first? Just unmute yourself. Okay, maybe Yan, you want to start first?
So something I want to talk about is free time. I think free time is extremely important. So I recently read this book by Tony Wagner called Creating Innovators, and in it he interviewed a lot of the top innovators in the world, and he realized that for all of them in their younger days, they all had the free time to create, to make things, to explore, to find out what they really love, you know, as David was saying. And I think that's really important. So when I look back at my life and I realize what has really kind of fueled my creativity is my parents were not very educated. So I actually had a lot of free time to, like, my time wasn't filled with like classes and swimming, and it just wasn't, you know. I had a lot of playground time every day. 5 p.m. run down to the playground to play, and so that kind of time made me kind of understand what I want to do a lot better. It's the same thing with my daughter now. One day she came home when she was in primary 1, and she was crying because she said, you know, the whole day in school, she's been thinking about what to do with these leaves she had collected. She wanted to make them blue. But after school, it was homework. And after homework was dinner. After dinner was sleep. She cried, and she saw in her future, many, many days of this future. And she said, there's no time to make the leaves blue. And that's when I actually decided and told her that I'm going to limit her homework time to only 1 hour a day for a long time. So anyway, I think free time is really important for creators.
Yes, definitely. Okay, Roy and David, we've also along this question on which the thing is like, what advice would you give to creators? So in addition to what you all have mentioned, okay, and I think in the context of what we're talking about, when say I use the word creation, it doesn't just mean like a product. I think we're also creating our lives, creating our journey and exploration, what we want to do. So which is why we have the 3 of them here today, because they represent such a wide direction that the future could be. So Roy,
I agree with Yan as well. Free time is very important, not just for kids, for adults as well. So one of the things that I made like previously in my company was because like we had a lull period, there wasn't any business, and I was just like playing around with stuff, and that grew out into a good product that actually continues to sell even today. Yeah. So even if you have nothing to do like when you're working and in the future, and for now, it's very good to experiment with things that you can't do if you are busy, and that's I think what free time gives you. And always I think it's good to be able to expose yourself to like things from here and there. That's why it's so important to like know mix around with other creators like one another, to be able to inspire each other to push yourself towards like a better standard. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, maybe for me, I think something recent that I've done is I started on video creation. I started making my own videos. And that was, I don't know how many of you watch NAS Daily, but that I managed to sign up for it, and I was his first batch of student. But I guess the thing that I really want to share is that you must never stop being hungry and always being willing to learn. Because the thing is, I might be a bit older now, but I think one thing I have is I never stop learning, and if there's an opportunity to learn something, I'm more than happy to do. Like I saw some of you saying that you're going for coding classes. I must tell you, I only picked this up last few years. So imagine you are so young, but you managed to pick this up. I might be many more, not few more lah, maybe at least 10 more years or 15 more years older than all of you, but to never stop learning. But I think my key message for all of us is we must never stop trying. And I think with technology these days, with internet, it made learning so much more accessible. So don't limit yourself. And the last thing, final thing I want to say is that regardless of which stream you are at, you might be foundation or standard, don't let that limit you. Just because I was in a normal technical stream, I was still able to create my own future. Because if I were to tell you at that point of time till today, I think if you ask anyone, if you're from normal technical stream, can you ever become a teacher? I think I've never met a teacher that was from foundation stream. And because I didn't let people tell me that I can't, and from there, that was how I created my own journey. So 2 things really. Number 1, never stop learning. Number 2, don't limit yourself. Keep trying, keep learning new things. And if once you figure out you like something, go all out and explore it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, all the three of you.
Can I
Yes,
just
stop
add
here.
to what David said, which is that I found like in my journey making things to really accept and enjoy when I'm last in class. So like when I started filmmaking, I knew zero. Everybody was talking about things that I didn't know anything about, and I had a panic attack. But I think it's okay. It's really, really very okay to be last in class, and because it means that you have so much to learn, and you're last in one area but not last in other areas. And that's life.
Yes, yeah, very, very true. So, the three of you mentioned like, the space is very important. I also totally agree, and that's why I'm running like VV Stop Orchard, which is really a space to help provide both the physical and the time space for people who want to explore to do that. Yeah, and meeting others, yes, and that's why like all of you like participants, you all will over the next 2 sessions meet many other other students. And it's also a mix from different schools as well as different ages. I think that things like age or where you come from, sometimes it doesn't matter. Everybody has a good idea and everybody will contribute. Yeah. And the last but not least is the willingness to learn and try. Which by the virtue that you all applied for this, I think you are ready to try. It's very good. Okay. Roy and Yan Yan and David, do you all pick up any questions from the Q&A that you all would like to answer, like the specific? So for example, for Roy, I think there are quite a number of questions about, first of all, how do you do what you are doing, like having the cat and the pizza on top of you? And then of course there are questions about VR, like what is this, why is it so like interesting? Why so many people are attracted to it? That you want to, or other things that you have picked up from the Q&A questions list.
I think I answered most of them already on the chat. Yeah, basically for the cat on my head, I think that's something very interesting to have. Get this application on your computer. It's called Snap Camera by Snapchat company. So you can actually add all these filters. And I think once you have done it, tried it out, next step that you can do is create your own filters. So they have their own like a lens editor that you can use to make all these things. Yeah, it'll be very interesting. Yeah. It's very nice, right? I think.
Yeah, I think
so Zoom has its own video filter, which is the pizza one. It's very different. So Zoom one is more simpler, not so special. But the Snap Camera one is the best. You can also make your own filter. So that's something to try after this, I think. Yeah, add more life into your Zoom sessions.
Roy, thanks for sharing this. I think I learned something new, and I'm definitely going to try this. This is my one new things I'm going to learn today. So thank you so much for sharing with us.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. Now on the Q&A list, there are some questions. This one I thought it may be interesting. Is that what do you think are the best places or platforms to learn? Or then would be next back to how do you all learn? There's a question by Nathan.
So, sorry, the question is how we learn?
Yes, what do you think are the best places to learn? Is it books or through classes or some other things?
All of them. I often, I'm a very social learner, so I realize that when it's very test oriented, it's very difficult for me. But when I can like hang out with other people over chicken rice or coffee in a coffee shop, it's much better. Like it's easier for me to bounce ideas off. When I talk to people, I learn more. But books definitely is a big area. So like I made one film which was terrible, and then I made the next film which was not bad that I picked up by Netflix. So between the first film and the second film, I read about 10 books. And that was a big source of kind of organizing my thoughts. And then I talked to a lot of people. That's how I learned.
So for me, it's also largely the same. I think I best learn with people. But I think it's also I personally, when I was a teacher until today, I feel like I best learn from making mistakes. I'm a big fan of making mistakes, and I always tell my students, I say that if you are always getting A's, I'm very worried as a teacher because I don't know what you don't know. And I feel that when I make mistakes, that's where I I'm able to look at it and ask myself, how can I do better? And I think this is an attitude that I've developed in life, that I know that I'm not perfect. I will keep making mistakes, but it's okay. Make mistake, don't be too hard on yourself, and say that, okay, how can I keep improving? But something a bit more, I think something that we can all have access to, I think the internet itself is the best place to learn. Like really just going on YouTube. I think sometimes I have so many questions, I just go on YouTube and just type, how does this happen? Why is it like that? And yeah, so that's something that that's how I learn. And just really by talking to people, YouTube and all. Yep.
Mm. Roy, you have anything to add? Mm.
Yeah, I totally agree with David. Everything I learned in this for my business, I just learned from internet. And I'm sure like things from YouTube, all these platforms, open source things, I think those are amazing ways that this generation is actually able to get access to. Last time you have to go to library and go and borrow books. It's not easy. And you can ask, you have to go and learn, like go for courses and learn stuff. But nowadays, everything you can practically learn online, unless it's really like cutting edge stuff. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, great. Okay, okay. Next, okay, I picked up some questions that I think are addressed to Yan Yan. They're from someone called Dirk Crow, and also Rochelle. Okay, so they're asking you questions like, how do you get interested in writing books and directing a movie? And do you think an author must have a message that they want to send out to their readers in order for them to succeed? So,
okay, so the first question is, so I can't tell about other people. I mean, but when I make stuff, when I write, it's often I have something to say. So, and it could be because when I was living in New York, I wanted to make, I wanted to write a love letter to Singapore, and it became a movie. And when I wanted to create something that food, like something that I love for my child that is bilingual and global, I created Dim Sum Warrior. So it's often an idea of who I want to speak to and what I want to tell that person. And so I often think of books as there's somebody I want to talk to and who I want to, what I want to say. And then it becomes books, it becomes movies, and so on. Yeah. It's not clear. So that's how I create. What was the first one? There was something else about.
Yes. How do you get interested in writing books and directing a movie?
Oh, I like stories. I like telling stories, and I think that stories are very powerful. So I was actually, when I first arrived from Singapore to New York, something that happened was I read a little article in Time Out magazine where this guy said he was going to spend a year learning anything and everything. So he learned to write with his left hand, he learned to play the ukulele, he learned like nonsense things. And that really inspired me that I could be a teacher, and also a student, but I could also be multiple things. So then when people came, I did the thing where when people came, hey, I have cameras, want to shoot a movie? I said yes. When people came and said, oh, I have this, you want to do that? I said yes. So I said basically yes to all experiences and tried it. So, and then found what I love doing.
Great. Yes. Okay, so hope that the two of you who asked the question, you have gotten your answers. Okay. Okay, next is slightly off the tangent, but there's this comment that garnered quite a lot of other comments from the participants. So there's this comment from Hui En, I think, that says, if everyone is a doctor, lawyer, or policeman, who will clean our places and who will sell us food? So then there are quite a lot of true and yeah and all this, right? And there's some comments about parents. So like they
That's very wise. That's very wise. I think when I was primary school, I probably didn't even think until that far, but very good point. Sorry.
So what, any like comments or takes about this something off the tangent?
I think just one quick point I want to say. I think all jobs are equally dignified. Like I don't think that just because you're a chicken rice store uncle, it doesn't make you any less than someone who's a teacher, because I feel that people take pride in their work, and I think that to me, it's important. I think at the end of the day, it's really about really just whatever we do, we do to our best, and that's where dignity also comes from. Yeah, so that's something that yeah, a quick response to it.
I think doctors and lawyers should also clean and cook.
Yes, and why do you say that? That's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. Why do you think that they should also clean and cook?
No, I think the question of who's going to clean our stuff, who's going to sell food to me, is very presumptuous, right? Because because we don't know where we are. The world is changing so rapidly. A lot of lawyers who have jobs today may not have jobs tomorrow because of AI, a lot, and so on, right? So our lives are going to go in crazy cycles. So I do think that we all have to be incredibly independent in our lives, and do the things that not just intellectually engaging, but also do the things that make us human, and clean ourselves and clean ourselves and so on.
Yes, yeah, and I'm not sure if all of you feel it as well. I think that this, what Yan just mentioned about everyone should also know how to cook and clean and so on, right? Become even more apparent in this COVID period, where suddenly you find that, oh, like the cleaners are not coming to my place. The people who are selling us food that we are expecting every day are not selling us food anymore. How, it means I also, it means it hits me a lot as well. And something that I picked up is now I know how to sew my own mask. I don't have to buy if I want to. I haven't watched. Yes, I mean, this is really something that's even a more ongoing trend, and I think rightly pointed out by Yen also that in the future there'll be what we will do will really change quite a lot, and then having multi-skilled. And also even more so the ability to create. Cooking is a form of making, cleaning a place, make clean is a form of creation, and something like that I'll talk about, because all of them are creation. So I think more taking back the ability to create in our own hands is, to me, it's important, and that's why also running this Lighthouse program for all of you, and doing Vivita too. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so and thanks for the question, but you have to go now. Okay, then I'll take this last question before we close up this Q&A session. This is a question from Jadia, if I haven't read your name wrongly. And the question is, how do we get opportunities to learn more about something that we want to do when the opportunities do not come to us? Yeah, so this is the chat window for the reference of the panelists. Yeah, so what do you all have to say about this?
Maybe I'll respond to this question in a slightly different way. I think one thing when it comes to opportunities, I feel like I hustle a lot in my life. I go out there knocking on doors and finding ways to make things happen. Maybe let me just share screen quickly. I didn't show this to you all just now, but I'm just going to run this quickly with everyone. So what happened was I wanted to be a teacher, but if I could show this to you, so I think part of it is where I realized that I like to do something, and I really wanted to find my dream. So if you look at this from MOE website last time, right? If I wanted to be a teacher because I was from the normal technical stream, I could have gone to ITE, and after ITE, I would have gone to Poly. And so there was no issue. So if you look at this, it says that if you have passion for teaching, strong personal attribute, blah, 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 and say, but when I saw this, at least 5 O-level passes, my world came crashing down. Because I was an N-level student, I would never be able to do O-levels. But what I did to make opportunity happen was okay, this was something that I say, like, when I saw these 3 O-level passes, the first 3 words that came to my mind was 笑了啦. It's like, it means I would never ever be. But I just want to respond to your question earlier. After I finished my N-level, this was what I did. Our then education minister was Minister Taman. And after I finished N-levels, because I knew that I could never do O-levels, I use my not very nice email address called singaporerabbit@yahoo.com.sg. It's those kind of email address you use for games, right? Then I wrote the Minister of Education. Then I said, "Dear Minister Morgan, I really want to do O levels. Can you give me a chance?" And why I'm sharing this is really because I think when it comes to opportunities, sometimes you really just need to go out there to knock on doors. I couldn't have done O levels because I was a normal tech student. But what I did was to knock on doors. Today, I think a lot of things as I explore more, as I look at different courses and all, I think I just jump into it. I think the opportunities are out there, but we have to go out there and find. And yeah, I think sometimes really just one thing that I just want to leave you with is it's really hustle. I find myself, I am where I am today. Really part of it is really going knocking on the doors and being very shameless to say that, hey, I really want to do this. I want to try this. Can you give me a chance? Yeah. So that's my response to that question. Yeah.
David, I'm so glad you're in policy, because then you can shape things to give other people more opportunities. I think that's fantastic that you're in policy right now.
Maybe I'd like to add a bit on what David say, like on knocking on doors. Doors leads to more doors, and then I think that like for example, you want to do this thing, but maybe it's not so easy for you to like really jump to it immediately. So we need to be able to take steps towards that, and then like for example, you want to become a person who does like really awesome stuff, but maybe you don't have the qualities or the skill sets to do that first, to do that yet. So maybe just break it down into like small things, and then you try to work on like each one of them. Try to look for opportunities for these smaller parts first, and then I think that once you are able to do all these different things, all this stuff that you have been doing will eventually lead to the opportunity to do the big one that you are looking for. Yeah, so you don't want to, because you don't get to do the big opportunity that you're looking for. It might not come to you now, but 5 years later it might happen to you. So what are you going to do from like this right now until that 5 years time? Are we going to just like mope around and then just do nothing, okay? Or are you going to like work on a skill set, so that when the 5 years come, when the opportunity present to you, you're able to take it? Yeah. So doors open small doors. So that's something that maybe, yeah.
Thanks, Roy. Yeah. Anything to add about this?
I think that's so true what Roy said. I mean, just use whatever resources. I mean, I feel like I started using whatever I had to make things. So once you make small things, so for example, my first thing I made, one of the first things I made was a short film. So it was made because somebody said, I've a camera, you want to shoot something? I said, okay, let's shoot. Then I asked my uncle, auntie, their dog, everybody to come and work on the film. And then we finished it, and everybody was so happy. We didn't do it for money, but everybody was so happy creating something together. And when that happens, it's magic. And then when that happens, what happens is other people start believing that you can actually finish small things, and then start believing that you can maybe do something a little bit bigger. And then you're actually building your team of collaborators. And I think that's so true, that you start making something, you actually build your community of people who can you can do work together.
Okay, thank you. And I think this last question really wraps up our session here today very well. And the opportunities, I mean, just like the three of you who have gone actively pursuing the opportunity, and then like through like small steps and things that you all can do, then really you garner people who supports you, and that's, I think, in many ways how ideas will also go forward. Like I think Roy, just you're mentioning, you started by like blogging and sharing information, then you find people along the way that likes VR, then it brings to where you are. And I think like I think for me, I have a very similar path as well, like going out to share with people what you like to do. And I think to all of you participants, it will be something that you definitely part of the journey of making something. Some of you might be thinking of a idea to do by yourself, but if you have people to join your journey and join your way, you can even make it like 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times more interesting at the same time. Okay, so with this, we've come to the end of the session. Once again, I would like to thank all the three panelists today, Roy, Yan Yan, and David, for your precious time this morning to share your experience with everybody over here. And for those of, for all of you who are attending this, okay, there's no way to that we can clap, that you all can clap to thank them. Maybe you all can like type in the chat to thank them if you want to. But really, thanks for the time and all the sharing. Yeah, for those of you who will be coming for the workshop for the next, over the next week for 2 days, you'll be coming to this space that behind me, maybe Stop Orchard, and I will be there as well. So see you there for the workshop. Last but not least, I've pasted a link on the chat, which is the survey form or feedback form that I would like you all to fill out on your way out of this session to give us some feedback about the webinar so that we can also improve on it on the next time. Okay, so I keep on pasting the link so that you all won't lose it as well. Yes. So okay, thank you everyone for your time today. This is the end of the session. So bye bye, and see you all over the next week, and see you all, Rai and Yan Yan and David in person soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.